Breaking news, the Seattle Seahawks have traded quarterback Geno Smith to the Las Vegas Raiders in exchange for a 2025 third-round pick. Welcome into this special edition of Seattle Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. As I was out at dinner when this news broke, had to bring you a video as quick as we can. We're going to go live on the channel coming up in just a bit with full reaction. But Geno Smith reuniting with Pete Carroll, it reaffirms what we've always said, that Geno Smith was Pete Carroll's guy. And after 1 year, Seattle goes in a different direction and will have a new quarterback in 2025. And what this signals to me as well, that the Seahawks are hitting the reset button completely. After the trade request from DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett getting released, along with a number of players that are going elsewhere, like Draymond Jones and others, Seattle is starting over. And this gives Seattle a ton of flexibility now. You get the draft capital from trading Geno, but most importantly, you get a lot of additional cap space going forward from here to make this move and say goodbye to Geno Smith. The reality is, I know that Geno was a bridge quarterback for this team, and we're very grateful for what he did to get this Seahawks team out of the Russell Wilson situation, taking them to the playoffs, going to 2 Pro Bowl appearances. All of that was very good for Geno Smith, and we're thankful for it. But here's the bottom line when it comes to Geno Smith. The Seahawks were never going to win a Super Bowl with Geno Smith. He was never going to be a franchise quarterback, never was an elite quarterback. And I think if you're Mike Macdonald, if you're John Schneider, you realize that. And when it came down to the financials of whether he was worth paying or not, and if you could do better, this was a decision where you said to yourself, all right, let's do this. Let's go ahead and move forward from here and find a better option for a cheaper cost and go find our franchise guy. Folks, what is your one-word reaction to the Seahawks trading Geno Smith? Give me your one-word reaction in the comments section. I'll give you my one word here in just a bit. Folks, this is why you subscribe to Seahawks Today. I was out enjoying dinner, having a good night. I thought I was going to have a little too good of a night tonight, and then this news broke. So what am I going to do? I'm going to head to the studio, and we are going to react to this news and do a live show coming up in just a bit. We are quickly approaching 64,000 subscribers on Seahawks Today, but we need your help to get there. For the latest happenings in your Seattle Seahawks all offseason long, we got plenty to discuss over the coming days. QB replacements, free agent targets, potential other trades, talking draft and more. This changes everything for the Seattle Seahawks. Subscribe now for free. Join us each and every day on the channel. You'll be glad you did. So now that Seattle moves on from Geno Smith and makes this trade, you wonder, all right, what's the plan going forward from here? And there's a couple of different options now. You're picking at 18. That doesn't seem like a spot where you're in position to take one of these first-round quarterbacks, like a Cam Ward or a Shedeur Sanders. They are unlikely going to fall in Seattle's direction. Now, we have heard that Shedeur Sanders' stock is starting to drop a little bit, and you do have some extra draft capital. We do anticipate DK Metcalf getting traded here, so maybe you're in position to potentially trade up for a quarterback, and John Schneider already has had meetings with Shedeur Sanders at the East-West Shrine game. So maybe that's a possibility of trading up, but at least you're not going to get a first-round quarterback with that 18th overall pick. I do not think that Jackson Dart is worthy of being that 18th overall pick, and Seattle did meet with him at the NFL Draft Scouting Combine. I think that's a possibility, but that would not be my preference for Seattle to go with Jackson Dart with that 18th overall pick. So draft-wise, if you're looking for a top quarterback, you're going to have to trade up to do so. If you go the free agent market, Sam Darnold is available. And here's one thing to think about when comparing Sam Darnold as opposed to Geno Smith. A lot of us have talked about how Geno had his struggles against this bad offensive line, and that his numbers were all right, but he had his fair share of issues in the red zone with the red zone turnovers and all. Sam Darnold was the NFL Comeback Player of the Year, took the Vikings to 11 playoff wins and nearly won a division, nearly had the #1 overall seed, and he had a pitiful offensive line, was sacked even more than Geno Smith was, and was able to win a ton of games. So Sam Darnold is a possibility for Seattle on the free agency market. You have some other guys like Kirk Cousins, Aaron Rodgers, Justin Fields. There are plenty of other options if you decide to go that route when it comes to free agent quarterbacks on that front, if you decide to do so. But now where we go from here, I think if you're Seattle at this point, you are saying to yourselves, here is the chance for Mike Macdonald and John Schneider to do their thing, to build this team as they see fit. This is not Pete Carroll's team. And Pete Carroll gets his guy, Geno Smith, and now we see this Seahawks organization say, we're going to take a step back. We did this 9-8, 10-7 charade the last couple of years, and we're just simply not content with that anymore. That we are going all out now. And I got to say, it'll be intriguing to see what's ahead for the next couple of weeks, but I appreciate that this team is not content with mediocrity. The worst place you can be in the National Football League is towards the middle, because it's hard to take that next step up and improve, and you're kind of just stuck in no man's land. And that's what Seattle found themselves in the last few seasons. Now, you get the salary cap space, you get these draft picks, maybe you can retool and you can put a roster together that can go compete in the NFC next year, or maybe you start to unload some more of these guys and you have a rebuilding year next year from the ground up and then work your way back up to the top in that sense. It's going to be very telling to see what direction they'll go, and we should have that answer in the coming days of what that direction is going forward. How would you grade the trade? A third-round pick for Geno, just even a few years ago. I know some people may be thinking, just a third-round pick? Well, I mean, he was a backup just a couple of years ago. And now you're sitting here and you got some decent production for a couple of years. You didn't have to pay him a lot in that stretch, and you got a third-round pick for him. I can live with a third-round pick for Geno Smith. What do you guys think? Who won the trade? The Seahawks or the Raiders? Type C for Seattle, type LV for the Las Vegas Raiders. Let me know what you guys think. So, how will I look back on Geno Smith's tenure? I am thankful that he got Seattle through this situation. But, as I've said in the past, there was a ceiling with Geno. There was only so far you can go with Geno Smith as your quarterback. And I think Seattle knows that they could do better than Geno Smith, and that he wasn't going to take them as far as they could potentially go. And now, if you're the Seahawks here, you're sitting here saying to yourself, all right, we got two options. We go with a veteran and try to see what we can do to still compete at a high level and go from here, or you go with a young quarterback and you start over and take advantage of having some assets and having some money and go with this direction from here. And I don't know what path Seattle is ultimately going to go with. We'll have that answer coming up sooner than later, but I would think that there are better days ahead, that this can be solved. It's not easy finding a quarterback to lead you to where you want to go, but you look at the quarterbacks that are winning championships in this league, the Jalen Hurtses, the Patrick Mahomeses of the world. Those guys are a different level. And the fact of the matter, Geno was never going to be that guy. And that's the reality of this situation here, that you were never going to get that guy with Geno Smith. We appreciate him. We thank him for what he did, getting out of that Russell Wilson situation. And it was a fun couple of seasons. But I sat here, and I think most of you sat here, and we were tired of just 9-10 wins. Now John Schneider and Mike Macdonald are saying, we are going to swing for the fences. We are going to do this the right way. And John Schneider, I'll say this much, there's a lot of pressure on him. And what I think about this now, it doesn't even matter if Geno's there or DK's there. You have to fix the offensive line. Whoever the quarterback is for this Seattle team in 2025 and beyond, if you want to give them a fighting chance, give them an offensive line that can actually protect them and that they can build around, and that's going to be the next key. So the offseason agenda going forward, Here's what's next. The DK trade is coming. That's happening. Building this offensive line and fixing it and getting right for the long term and your quarterback situation. Whether it's free agency, whether it's the draft, those are the next 3 steps as they reset this offense and get this team going to where they want to go. It's a long road ahead. There's plenty of work to be done. John Schneider, we all know his job's on the line. He is putting his money where his mouth is, and he's saying to himself, look, Geno wasn't going to get me there. I got to do something different. And I'm intrigued. Will it work? It remains to be seen. But I'm optimistic. I like a good gamble. You got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to fold them. And the Seahawks are laying it all out in the line here to see where this goes. Folks, we are going to have more reaction coming up on the channel with a special live edition of Seahawks Today. I'm going to get in my car. I'm going to head to the studio, and we are going to let you guys react, vent, feel however you want. I'm very intrigued to see what the 12s have to say because this is quite the change. It's never easy when you start with a new quarterback. And now, Mike Macdonald, he's always been a defensive guy, and he's always been a Geno defender. What does this mean for Mike Macdonald? Is he going to get what he wants? Are he and John on the same page? I have a ton of questions, and I want to hear from you guys. Let us know. We'll talk all about it coming up on this live edition of Seahawks Today in just a few moments. Appreciate you joining us. I'm going to get in my car. Let's get to the studio. Let's react to this news. Geno Smith headed to the Las Vegas Raiders. Instant thoughts. I feel good about it. Now let's see what John Schneider has cooking from here. More to come on Seahawks Today. Stay tuned for it. I'm Tyler Jones. Subscribe now. Going to be a lot of fun. I can guarantee you that much. Keep it locked in right here at Seahawks Today. So long, everybody. Thanks for joining us.